Hey friends, Elizabeth here from Plant-Based Bride, back again with another video. And in today's video, I wanted to set up a couple spreads in my reading journal for January. Obviously, I did a video setting up some of my longer term yearly spreads, which I will link for you in a card and in the description box down below if you missed it. But I also wanted to do some monthly spreads, and I'm not guaranteeing that I'm going to post monthly plan with me's every single month in my reading journal because I already do 2 monthly plan with me videos and they're quite time consuming. So I don't want to make promises I can't keep, but my goal is to at least semi-regularly post what I'm doing in my reading journal, and I'll definitely be posting some photos on Instagram, so if you want to follow me over on there, feel free. There's a link in the description box for my Instagram and Twitter and TikTok and all of the things. So in this video, I'm setting up a little cover page spread with my TBR, and then I'm setting up 2 individual book spreads. Now, my idea with my reading journal is that I'm not going to do a book spread for every single book I read. That would just be incredibly time consuming and just simply not sustainable for me. I do tend to read at least 8 to 10 books a month at minimum, but I did want to make sure I was making spreads for the books that we were selecting to read in my book club over on Patreon each month, as a way to commemorate those book club selections throughout the year, and then whatever other books that I read in a month that really stand out to me or really have an impact on me. So this first spread I'm doing is for my TBR. I have these adorable little mini craft envelopes. And I'm writing my TBR list on this little piece of lined paper and folding it and putting it in this mini envelope. I think this is super cute. If you saw my January TBR/December wrap-up video, then you'll know that my goal in January was to read as many of the 2020 Goodreads Choice Award winners as I could. So those are the books on this list. I am omitting any books that are not the first in a series, and there are a couple of the other books that I didn't include, like the cookbook, for example. Moving on to the cover page, and I'm just using some scraps and some pictures that I like that I printed, arranging them around the page, trying to make something that feels pretty and calming and cozy, that evokes all the feelings I get when I'm reading. So moving on to the next spread, which is for our January book club selection, which is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. This fits perfectly into my January TBR because this was the fiction winner of the Goodreads Choice Awards for 2020. And I have already read the book, but I want to leave the actual filling in of the spread for after we do our book club discussion, because I always come away from those discussions with such a deeper insight into whatever book we selected than I had on my own. Just the act of processing it and talking it out with a group of wonderful human beings really helps to expand both the depth and the breadth of my understanding of whatever book we've selected. So I'm doing the artistic setup of the spread, but I'm leaving the actual filling in till after our book club discussion. And for these book spreads, I wanted to incorporate things that had to do with the book and not just random elements that I liked. So for the Midnight Library, as the name implies, it does involve a library. So I have some library pictures in there and some ripped up scans of pages of books. There's also a significant scene in the book that has to do with a polar bear, and there's a lot of chess talk and chess imagery. So I included a polar bear and a queen piece from chess. I also wanted to highlight a couple of the quotes that really resonated with me on some scrap paper to make them stand out on the spread. If you have a reading journal and you make spreads about specific books, I would love to know what types of things you tend to include. Do you tend to just write down quotes that resonate with you? Do you write out a full review? Do you just stream of consciousness write what comes to mind when you think about the book? Do you take notes while you're reading the book? I'm really curious to know, so please let me know what you do in the comments if you do have a reading journal. So flipping now to the final spread that I'm setting up in this video, and this is for The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. And this was a 5-star read. It was really incredibly done. I really enjoyed the process of reading this book. It was so immersive. The world building and the character development were top notch, and the way that it explored the issues of identity and race and belonging, and the way that Bennett chose to do this with twin sisters who chose diverting paths in life is just so effective. I won't do a full review here, but I really loved this one. So I wanted to make sure that I could write about it here. And I didn't leave in the footage of me filling in the spread because I didn't know if that would be interesting. Let me know in a comment if you'd want me to leave in that footage in future Plan With Me's in my reading journal. I didn't really know if that would be of interest, but you'll see it when I do the final flip through here, what the spread looks like when it's completely filled in. I wrote out my review and the awards the book won, quotes that resonated with me, as well as my Cawpile rating and my final rating. And just like with the spread for the Midnight Library, I tried to select images that brought to mind some of the themes or characters or settings of the book. This book takes place over quite a long period of time, so it does happen in multiple different decades with different aesthetics. So I tried to go for a bit of a 50s/timeless vibe for this spread and tried to tie in the blues and the pinks from the cover into the rest of the spread rather than just going for neutrals as I have in most of the other spreads that I've done so far in my reading journal. And that brings us to the end of this video. I'm still finishing a couple more books for January, and I'm sure I'll end up having a few more 5-star reads, or at least books that really resonate with me that I want to journal about. So I'm sure I will have more January spreads. I'm also considering doing some sort of January stats spread at the very end of all of my individual book spreads before going into February, and then at the end of the year doing kind of an end of year book stats spread, because I didn't include something like that in my initial setup, but I do think I'm going to want one. So I'm still thinking about how I want to do that. This is all new to me, but it's fun to experiment. So I hope you enjoyed this one. Give it a like if you did enjoy it and you want to see more of these Plan With Me videos, setting up spreads in my reading journal. I'm happy to post them whenever I'm able. And with that, we've come to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you really soon in my next one. Bye, friends. I want to take a moment to thank my patrons for their support. Extra special thanks to our newest patrons, Renee, Elena, Grumposaurus Bex, which is such a great name, Kendall, Helena, Lily, and Melanie. Welcome all of you to the squad. We are so happy to have you. If you at home want to join the squad, feel free. There's a link in the card and in the description box down below. If you missed my February plan with me in my bullet journal, make sure you check that one out. I'll link it here for you.